Hello friends. If you've ever wondered what happens when fire meets fire, buckle up, because the combination of an Aries man and an Aries woman is one of the most explosive, passionate, and dynamic matches in the zodiac. Ruled by Mars, the planet of war, drive, and energy, both the Aries man and Aries woman bring intensity, ambition, and fiery independence to any relationship. But how do two rams fare when they butt heads? Can their shared qualities be a strength, or do they risk burning out from the heat of their own flames? In this in-depth look at the Aries-Aries match, we'll explore their love connection, sexual chemistry, marriage potential, friendship dynamics, and business compatibility, giving you the full picture of this astrological powerhouse pairing. Love compatibility, sparks that never stop. When an Aries man and an Aries woman fall in love, the universe seems to vibrate with the sheer magnitude of their connection. This is not a slow burn kind of romance. No, it's a wildfire. Instant chemistry ignites from the very first moment their eyes meet, and it only grows more intense with each interaction. Both ruled by Mars, the planet of raw energy and desire, these two are drawn to each other like celestial warriors recognizing one another across a battlefield. Only here, the war is love, and the battlefield is the heart. What makes their bond so magnetic is the mutual recognition of spirit. They see in each other a fearless pursuit of life, a refusal to settle, and an unapologetic boldness that resonates deeply within their souls. The Aries man is captivated by the Aries woman's audacity and self-possession. She doesn't wait to be pursued, she charges forward with a radiant mix of femininity and fire, which fascinates and excites him. At the same time, she's drawn to his self-assurance and strength. His confidence is not arrogance, it's a mirror of her own inner power. Together, they feel unstoppable, as though they've met a true equal. This mutual admiration forms the bedrock of their romance. It's not about being saved or being completed, it's about standing side by side, shoulder to shoulder, in mutual respect and shared purpose. Both partners value honesty, independence, and passion. There's no room for pretense or manipulation here. In fact, anything fake or emotionally guarded quickly crumbles under the heat of their shared intensity. What they give to each other is authenticity, and what they expect in return is the same. One of the most exhilarating aspects of this relationship is its endless momentum. These are not the types to settle into a humdrum routine. Boredom is their mutual enemy, and they will do everything in their power to avoid it. From spontaneous weekend getaways to joint creative pursuits, their love life is always in motion. They inspire one another to live bigger, dream louder, and act bolder. They're the kind of couple who push each other out of comfort zones, who dare each other to leap, and then leap together, laughing all the way down. Their energy is not only high-octane, it's also deeply loyal. When Aries commits, they do so with the full force of their heart. This means the Aries-Aries bond is one of fierce loyalty and protective devotion. They become each other's champions and defenders, standing up for one another no matter what. There's a natural us against the world dynamic that emerges in this pairing, a romantic intensity that makes each feel truly seen, chosen, and believed in. Love here isn't passive, it's active, powerful, and constantly reaffirmed through action and intention. But as with any relationship that burns this hot, the danger lies in combustion. With two strong-willed individuals who are both used to being in control, power struggles are inevitable. Both want to lead, and neither wants to follow. When disagreements arise, and they will, they tend to escalate quickly. An innocent difference of opinion can suddenly become a full-blown verbal skirmish. Aries doesn't back down easily. Their pride, their independence, and their quick tempers can turn otherwise solvable issues into battlefield standoffs. Yet, interestingly enough, their fights don't usually linger. One of the refreshing aspects of Aries' temperament is their inability to hold a grudge. They might scream, cry, slam a door, or walk away in the heat of the moment, but give it a few hours, and they're back to laughing, often forgetting the specifics of what triggered them in the first place. There's a childlike innocence to their anger, raw, real, but fleeting. And often, their arguments lead to a deeper respect for one another, especially when both learn to fight fair. The real challenge lies not in avoiding conflict, but in learning to navigate it with grace. These two must understand that surrendering in love is not the same as surrendering their power. Vulnerability, far from being a weakness, is the key to longevity in their love. It's when they allow themselves to be soft, to truly listen, to apologize without ego, and to receive love as much as they give it, that the relationship becomes not just intense, but truly meaningful. They also need to practice patience. Aries wants everything now: affection, clarity, reassurance, success. But relationships, like all worthy things, require time, intention, and consistent effort. When they learn to slow down just enough to appreciate the emotional depth beneath the heat, their bond becomes not only fiery, but profoundly rooted. It's not just about setting each other's hearts ablaze, it's about learning to keep that fire burning, even in the quieter moments. For the Aries man and Aries woman, love is a daring adventure, one where every day presents a new challenge, a new lesson, a new spark. Together, they can write a love story that's both epic and intimate, full of passion and punctuated by growth. But to do so, they must honor their similarities without being ruled by them, and embrace their differences without being threatened by them. Love tip: the secret to making this relationship work lies in mutual respect and conscious vulnerability. Learn to take turns leading. Celebrate each other's victories instead of competing. And above all, let love be the flame that warms, not just the fire that consumes. Sex compatibility, a blazing inferno. There's no subtle way to describe the sexual chemistry between an Aries man and an Aries woman. It's explosive, consuming, and electric from the very first touch. When two fire signs meet in the realm of passion, the result is a kind of heat that scorches through the surface and reaches straight into the primal core. This connection is not about quiet romance or soft candlelit exchanges, it's about raw desire, unapologetic intensity, and the thrill of two untamed souls colliding in the most intimate of arenas. Ruled by Mars, the planet of action, sex, and drive, both the Aries man and Aries woman are instinctively wired for passion. Their sexual connection begins with an unspoken challenge, a daring invitation to outmatch, outlast, and outpleasure the other. There's a spark from the first kiss, a tension in the air that says, "I see you, and I want all of you." This mutual attraction is as mental as it is physical. They're turned on by each other's fire, by the strength of will they both carry. Neither wants to dominate the other completely, they want a worthy rival, someone who meets them at their level and makes the game that much more thrilling. The Aries man brings to the bedroom a commanding, ferocious kind of sexual energy. He's a natural initiator, a bold and instinctive lover who thrives on intensity. He doesn't just want sex, he wants conquest, experience, the thrill of watching his partner unravel beneath him. But with the Aries woman, he meets his match. She doesn't submit, she meets his fire with fire. Her desire is not passive or waiting, it's active, present, and just as hungry. She takes what she wants with confidence, never afraid to be vocal, physical, or assertive in bed. This creates a dance of equals, a thrilling push and pull where dominance is fluid, and control is passed like a torch. Their bedroom becomes a stage for exploration and expression, a place where boundaries are tested and inhibitions are left at the door. They aren't shy about trying new positions, introducing toys, or pushing each other toward new levels of ecstasy. If there's a kink or fantasy, chances are they've either tried it or are game to try, and not just once. Their sex life is constantly evolving, driven by a shared appetite for novelty and challenge. But what makes their sexual bond more than just physical is the emotional current that pulses beneath all that heat. While neither Aries may admit it openly, especially at first, there is a longing for deeper connection, a desire to feel truly seen and desired not just for their bodies, but for their essence. The Aries woman, in particular, though fiercely independent and self-sufficient, craves the kind of intimacy that comes from being chosen every single time, not just for her fire, but for her heart. And the Aries man, though often wrapped in his own bravado, wants to feel like more than just a provider of pleasure. He wants to be needed, trusted, and worshipped in return. Together, they have the opportunity to turn sex into more than an act. It becomes a ritual, a communication, a shared language of fire. Their physical rhythm reflects their emotional rhythm, fast, urgent, overwhelming at times, but always honest. Whether it's an urgent hookup against the wall or a slow-burning session that lasts until sunrise, sex between them is never routine. Even years into the relationship, the heat rarely dims. They might argue fiercely one moment and tear each other's clothes off the next. That's the nature of Aries passion. It doesn't fester, it explodes, and often, resolution is found in skin-on-skin connection. Still, the same energy that drives their passion can also be their biggest hurdle. Aries is notorious for being self-focused, especially in moments of intensity. This means both partners may get caught up in their own pleasure, their own chase, without fully tuning into the other's needs. If unchecked, their lovemaking can become a competition rather than a communion, a test of who's better, bolder, louder. There may be an unconscious keeping of score, who initiated last, who climaxed first, who won the night. That's where maturity and emotional intelligence must enter the room. For this couple to unlock the highest level of their sexual potential, they must learn to slow down, not just physically, but energetically. Slowing down allows space for connection, for depth, for the kind of pleasure that simmers long after the act itself. Eye contact, breathwork, emotional attunement, these are not foreign concepts, but skills to be learned, practiced, and mastered. When Aries learns to temper fire with focus, their sex life transforms from merely hot to profoundly transformative. Another potential pitfall is the tendency toward routine over time. Because both partners are so active and excitable, they may think that their energy will never run out, but stress, responsibilities, and outside pressures can drain even the most fiery libidos. When that happens, they must remember to make space for seduction, even in daily life. Flirting, teasing, surprise gestures, playful domination, these small rituals reignite the flame and keep the sexual spark alive. Their love doesn't need to be constant fire to be real. Sometimes, the embers are just as important. Sex, for Aries and Aries, is not just about climax, it's about release, power, connection, and affirmation. It's the way they reconnect after a fight, the way they say, "I see you," without speaking. It's both their battleground and their sanctuary. And while the fireworks are spectacular, it's in the quiet, tender moments afterward, the shared laughs, the breathless cuddles, the moments of vulnerability, that their true intimacy takes root. Sex tip: while it's tempting to chase the thrill every time, don't underestimate the magic of slowing down. Prioritize each other's pleasure equally. Learn to communicate openly about what feels good, what needs more time, and where trust deepens. There's power in passion, but there's even greater power in presence. Fireworks are fleeting. Embers, if nurtured, can burn forever. Marriage compatibility, a roller coaster union. Marriage between an Aries man and an Aries woman is anything but conventional. It's a bold, high-energy union that rides on adrenaline, ambition, and an unmistakable chemistry that rarely loses its spark. For outsiders, this relationship may seem volatile or too intense, but for the Aries-Aries couple, it feels alive, thrilling, and deeply real. When two rams join forces in marriage, they create a bond built on movement, passion, and mutual respect, as long as they learn to navigate the occasional tempests that naturally come with such powerful personalities. From the moment they say, "I do," the Aries man and Aries woman envision a life that reflects their shared values: action, achievement, excitement, and independence. They are not the type to settle into quiet domestic routines or traditional roles without question. Instead, they carve their own path, a dynamic partnership where both voices are heard, both ambitions are honored, and both dreams are chased with equal fervor. What sets this marriage apart is the ability of both partners to act not just as lovers, but as allies, two leaders, side by side, writing the rules as they go. One of the greatest strengths of this pairing in marriage is the alignment of drive and vision. Aries individuals are notoriously goal-oriented and future-focused. When paired together, this energy becomes a powerful force. Whether they're working toward financial stability, starting a family, traveling the world, or launching a shared business, the Aries-Aries couple operates like a mission team. They trust each other's instincts, feed off each other's motivation, and rarely wait for external validation. The home they build together is often vibrant, inspiring, and full of movement, not just physically, but emotionally and intellectually. There's also an unmatched loyalty that underpins this relationship. Once committed, Aries is all in, not halfway, not conditionally. This means that when an Aries man vows to stand by his Aries wife, he means it with every ounce of his fiery heart. And she returns that devotion with just as much passion. These two will defend each other against anything or anyone who threatens their bond. When life gets messy, as it always does, they don't retreat. They charge forward together, ready to face challenges hand in hand. In many ways, marriage becomes their battlefield, not in a destructive sense, but in a way that turns them into battle-tested partners who emerge stronger from every storm. Another unique strength of this union is the youthful spirit it maintains over time. Aries is the child of the zodiac, enthusiastic, daring, and forever drawn to new experiences. Even years or decades into the marriage, this couple tends to flirt, tease, and surprise each other in ways that keep the spark alive. They don't settle into stagnation. They take road trips, tackle new hobbies, pursue personal growth, and continue to see each other not just as spouses but as playmates. This sense of adventure infuses their marriage with vitality and keeps love from growing dull. But no marriage is without its challenges, and for two Aries partners, the biggest threat to lasting harmony comes from within, specifically, the need for control. Aries doesn't follow, Aries leads. So what happens when both partners are born to lead? Unless there's a conscious agreement to share power and honor each other's strengths, the marriage can easily devolve into a tug-of-war. Who makes the decisions? Who drives the family vision? Who sets the tone of the household? If not handled with maturity and mutual respect, these questions can spark ongoing battles that wear down the foundation of love. Impatience is another factor that can complicate this marriage. Aries energy wants results now. Waiting, planning, saving, these aren't their strong suits, especially when it comes to long-term decisions like finances, parenting, or home ownership. There may be moments when one partner wants to leap forward while the other urges caution, leading to frustration and misunderstandings. Both may need to learn that not every victory is immediate, and that the best parts of married life often unfold slowly, through trust, compromise, and shared effort over time. And then there's the emotional side of conflict. Aries doesn't avoid confrontation, they dive into it. While this honesty can be refreshing, it can also be volatile. Tempers flare fast, and when both partners are quick to react, small disagreements can turn into major showdowns. There's little passive aggression here, arguments are loud, passionate, and often public. The good news is that Aries doesn't usually hold grudges. The bad news is that without emotional intelligence, these conflicts can leave emotional scars that never quite heal, especially if harsh words are said in the heat of the moment. For this marriage to thrive, it's crucial that both partners develop emotional maturity. That means learning to fight fair, speak kindly, and listen actively. It means recognizing when pride is driving the conversation instead of love. Aries wants to win, but in marriage, winning isn't about being right, it's about being connected. Sometimes the greatest victory is being the one who apologizes first, the one who steps back and says, "Let's try again." Establishing boundaries and expectations early in the marriage can also help avoid unnecessary conflict down the line. Discuss roles, responsibilities, finances, family planning, and personal goals with openness and mutual respect. Rather than competing for the spotlight, this couple must learn to celebrate each other's victories, to cheer, not challenge. In doing so, they create a marriage that is not just passionate, but supportive, a place where both individuals shine even brighter because of their shared commitment. And finally, cooling off periods are essential. Because Aries burns hot and fast, it's easy to say things in the moment that you don't truly mean. Learning to take space, not as punishment, but as a way to self-regulate, can be one of the most loving things either partner can do. Time apart after an argument allows clarity to return, emotions to settle, and perspective to take shape. What once felt like an unresolvable conflict often becomes a simple misunderstanding with just a little distance. Marriage tip: for an Aries-Aries union to thrive, pride must never outweigh love. Embrace the strength of your partner as a complement to your own, not a threat. Celebrate together. Grow together. And above all, choose each other every single day, not out of habit, but out of fiery, conscious, unwavering devotion. Friendship compatibility, warrior allies. When an Aries man and an Aries woman become friends, it's like watching fire meeting fire, a blaze of enthusiasm, courage, and mutual recognition. Their bond is immediate, electric, and undeniably intense. They don't just enjoy each other's company, they thrive in it. From the start, there's a deep understanding between them, not necessarily through quiet introspection or emotional analysis, but through action, shared values, and mirrored energy. These two recognize the same restless fire in each other's eyes, and that creates a friendship rooted in mutual admiration and a thirst for adventure. This isn't the kind of friendship that tiptoes around emotions or slowly simmers. Aries friendships are full throttle. They jump into things headfirst, laughing loudly, dreaming big, and often diving into spontaneous plans without a second thought. Whether it's launching a shared project, planning a last-minute weekend getaway, or simply staying up all night arguing about life philosophies, the Aries-Aries friendship is anything but boring. There's always something happening, and both friends love it that way. They are each other's biggest fans. If one Aries is chasing a promotion, the other is already hyping them up like a personal cheerleader. If one wants to take a risk, start a band, quit a job, sign up for an Ironman race, the other is there saying, "Let's do it." This pair brings out each other's confidence, drive, and independence. They fuel each other's passions, and when they team up, the energy is magnetic. Together, they form a fearless duo that challenges limits, both their own and the world's. Aries friends love to compete, but it's rarely mean-spirited. Instead, their competition is motivating, a friendly fire that pushes each other to rise higher. They're both alpha personalities who hate mediocrity and love a challenge, so when they compete, it often ends in laughter, a high five, or a rematch. This kind of friendly rivalry sharpens them rather than divides them. They know how to win with pride and lose with grace, and more importantly, they respect each other even more for showing up with full force. They also share a refreshing level of honesty. Aries doesn't sugarcoat, and they certainly don't tiptoe around the truth. In this friendship, that brutal honesty becomes a strength. If one friend is being reckless, the other will call it out. If someone's being insecure or making a mistake, their Aries friend will say so, directly, and without judgment. They may not always agree, but they always value authenticity. That kind of transparency creates a friendship that's not only exciting but deeply trustworthy. There's also a fiercely protective quality in this connection. Aries will defend their friends like warriors, loudly, loyally, and without hesitation. If someone messes with their friend, they're quick to step in. They're not passive defenders, they are vocal, passionate, and unwavering. The Aries man and Aries woman, as friends, become each other's chosen family. When the world feels like a battlefield, they stand shoulder to shoulder with full shields and no doubts. The adventures they share are unforgettable. This isn't a friendship built on quiet coffees or predictable routines. Instead, they're the type to decide on a whim to go bungee jumping, take a cross-country road trip, or start a side hustle over drinks. There's never a dull moment. Their conversations are often filled with daring ideas and impulsive plans, and more often than not, they actually follow through. There's an addictive momentum to their dynamic, and neither wants to slow down. But even the strongest fires need to be managed carefully. With two strong-willed, prideful personalities, clashes are inevitable. While their honesty is often an asset, it can also turn into sharp criticism if not delivered with care. If one Aries feels slighted, dismissed, or disrespected, even unintentionally, things can spiral quickly. They don't simmer in silence, they explode. Arguments between Aries friends can be loud, emotional, and dramatic. And because both are so stubborn, apologies don't always come easily. Trust is everything in this friendship. Aries doesn't forgive betrayal lightly. If one feels backstabbed, manipulated, or ignored, the bond can be severed abruptly and harshly. There are no long drawn-out fade-outs with Aries. If the trust is broken, the friendship may end immediately, and reconciliation is only possible with raw honesty and humility from both sides. This is why respect and loyalty must be maintained at all times. Another potential issue is ego. Both Aries love the spotlight, and both want to lead. In group settings, this can turn into subtle power plays or overt arguments about who's in charge. If one friend feels overshadowed or constantly challenged, it can create friction. They have to actively remind themselves that their bond is a partnership, not a competition for dominance. The strongest Aries-Aries friendships are those where both friends know when to lead and when to step aside. Still, when nurtured with respect and emotional awareness, this friendship becomes one of the most empowering connections either Aries will ever have. It's a relationship that helps them grow, pushes them forward, and reminds them of their own power. Through shared victories and hard lessons, they become not just companions, but comrades. They go to war for each other, celebrate like champions, and never let each other settle for less than greatness. Friendship tip: the best way to keep this friendship strong is to communicate openly and regularly. Speak with honesty, but also with kindness. Don't let pride get in the way of reconnection after a disagreement. Make space for each other's individuality and remember that you're stronger together than apart. Celebrate your fiery bond, but honor your differences. That's the secret to a lifelong Aries-Aries alliance. Business compatibility, the power duo. When an Aries man and Aries woman team up in the business world, sparks fly, and so do ideas, ambitions, and action plans. This duo doesn't just dream big, they execute fast, push hard, and refuse to play small. Together, they form a powerhouse partnership that's relentless, resilient, and full of momentum. But like any high-voltage connection, their collaboration has the potential to either light up the world or blow the fuse if not carefully managed. Aries is ruled by Mars, the planet of action, war, and drive. That makes both the Aries man and Aries woman natural-born leaders, competitors, and risk-takers. In a business setting, they're the kind of partners who'll wake up with an idea at 5 a.m. and have a pitch deck ready by 9. They don't shy away from pressure, in fact, they thrive under it. Challenges are invitations to dominate. Obstacles? Just part of the game. Their fearless energy makes them excellent entrepreneurs, team leaders, and change-makers. Their synergy in business is undeniable. They move fast, think on their feet, and rarely get paralyzed by indecision. When one Aries has an idea, the other instinctively builds on it. They communicate in a shorthand of intensity and vision: no fluff, just fire. Their meetings don't drag, they spark. Brainstorms turn into action plans in record time. They don't just sit around analyzing potential outcomes, they leap, trusting their instincts and betting on their shared boldness. One of the strongest aspects of their business compatibility is mutual respect. Aries only respects strength, and when they find it in another person, it creates a kind of fierce loyalty. The Aries man respects the Aries woman's ambition, grit, and refusal to back down. She admires his strategic thinking, leadership skills, and sheer willpower. In their eyes, anything less than total commitment is failure, and neither of them has any intention of failing. Together, they can lead a team like generals leading an army, focused, energized, and ready to take the world by storm. Their energy is also contagious. Aries partners have a way of lighting a fire under those around them. In the workplace, they're not just productive, they're inspirational. Colleagues, clients, and collaborators often feel supercharged in their presence. They don't just talk big, they act boldly. That creates a ripple effect that pushes others to bring their A game. These two don't settle for mediocre, they raise the bar, and then raise it again. But with all that firepower comes risk, especially when it comes to ego. Because both Aries are so accustomed to leading, decision-making can quickly become a battleground. Without clearly defined roles and mutual agreements on who leads where, they can fall into cycles of power struggles. Arguments may erupt over direction, delegation, or credit. If each one insists on being in charge of everything, the business becomes chaotic, two captains trying to steer the same ship without a compass. They also share a common Achilles heel, impatience. Aries thrives on fast results. They want to launch now, win now, scale now. Long-term strategy and meticulous detail work. That's not where their hearts lie. If they don't learn to delegate tasks like budgeting, back-end operations, or legal logistics, these responsibilities can fall through the cracks. Burnout becomes a very real threat. A thriving Aries business requires balance, knowing when to sprint, and when to pace. Another challenge arises during high-stress moments. Both Aries are known for their fiery tempers and direct communication style. In the heat of deadlines, cash flow crises, or public scrutiny, they may lash out without thinking. Words can become weapons, and the emotional fallout can damage not just the business, but the relationship as a whole. That's why it's essential for this duo to build a foundation of emotional intelligence and trust. They must learn to pause, breathe, and speak with clarity rather than intensity. Otherwise, the office can turn into a battleground. But make no mistake, when this pair gets it right, they're virtually unstoppable. Together, they have the power to launch ventures that break molds and disrupt industries. Their combined confidence, competitive edge, and raw ambition allow them to seize opportunities others wouldn't dare touch. Whether it's a startup, a creative agency, a tech company, or a lifestyle brand, Aries and Aries can turn bold visions into thriving empires, as long as they stay aligned and respect each other's drive. This partnership works best when each person plays to their strengths. Maybe the Aries man takes the lead in innovation and strategic expansion while the Aries woman focuses on branding, team dynamics, or execution. Or vice versa. The key is knowing who does what, and staying in their lane when necessary. When roles are clear, trust is high, and egos are checked, the Aries business becomes a juggernaut. Their style of doing business is disruptive in the best way. They challenge outdated systems, push boundaries, and set trends instead of following them. They're not afraid to take risks others would consider reckless. And because both are quick learners and even quicker adapters, they bounce back from failure with even more force. In fact, failure doesn't frighten them, it fuels them. Business tip: the most important move for this dynamic duo is to establish structure and clarity early on. Clearly define responsibilities, maintain frequent check-ins, and keep communication brutally honest but respectfully delivered. Don't compete for control, collaborate for excellence. If they can celebrate each other's victories as if they were their own, this partnership has every potential to be not just profitable, but legendary. Final thoughts: twin flames or too hot to handle? When an Aries man and Aries woman come together, it's more than just a relationship, it's a firestorm of passion, ambition, and kinetic energy. They recognize themselves in each other, raw, restless, and ready to conquer. This pairing doesn't tiptoe into love, it charges in, full force, head first and heart open. And when it works, it really works. But the same fire that makes them irresistible to each other can also threaten to burn down the house if they're not careful. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, the child of the astrological wheel, and that shows in both their wonder and their impulsiveness. When two rams meet, there's an instant spark. They understand each other's need for independence, drive for success, and love of new experiences. They match each other's energy, humor, and pace. It's like watching two flames merge into one roaring blaze. They inspire each other to be bolder, brighter, and more unapologetically themselves. Together, they can push each other to grow and achieve greatness neither would dare to reach alone. But that very mirroring also reveals the cracks. Aries doesn't back down, ever. And when both partners are headstrong, stubborn, and fiercely independent, conflict can turn into warfare. They may love each other deeply but still clash over control, timing, or even minor miscommunications. Their arguments are rarely subtle. Raised voices, dramatic exits, emotional heat, it's all part of the package when two Aries collide. It takes a high level of emotional maturity and self-awareness for them to turn confrontation into conversation and to channel their fire toward building instead of burning. This pairing demands more than love, it requires teamwork. Aries thrives on challenge, but relationships aren't just about winning, they're about sustaining, nurturing, and evolving together. The Aries man must learn that strength is not diminished by vulnerability, and the Aries woman must understand that softness doesn't equal surrender. When they develop the ability to listen, really listen, to each other's fears, needs, and dreams, they become an unstoppable force. Their love becomes layered, not just explosive. Their passion deepens, not just burns. One of the most beautiful aspects of this match is its authenticity. There are no games, no pretenses, no masks. What you see is what you get. That raw honesty can be intimidating, but it's also refreshing. They don't waste time pretending to be someone they're not. And because of that, they often develop a deep and unshakable respect for each other, even when they disagree. If both partners are committed to growth, they'll discover that iron sharpens iron. Every clash makes them stronger, more refined, and more aware of their power, both individually and together. The truth is, Aries doesn't just want love, they want a legend. They crave a story worth telling, a relationship that's alive, electric, and full of purpose. And who better to create that kind of story with than someone who burns just as brightly? An Aries-Aries relationship is not for the faint of heart. It's for warriors, for dreamers, for those willing to take the risk of loving at full volume. But the key to their success lies in mastery. Mastering their tempers. Mastering their pride. Mastering the art of pausing before reacting and choosing connection over competition. If they can do that, they don't just fall in love, they stay in love. And not out of obligation, but because they truly believe in each other. Because every day, they wake up and choose to fight not against each other, but for each other. This match isn't about taming the fire, it's about learning to wield it. Fire, after all, can warm a home or burn it down. The difference lies in intention, in respect, and in emotional maturity. Two Aries can build a relationship that's not just passionate but also deeply anchored in loyalty, trust, and mutual empowerment. But they have to want it enough to do the work. And if they do, there's no storm they can't weather, no mountain they can't climb, no dream they can't realize together. Compatibility score. Love, 8.5/10. Their passion is electric, their chemistry undeniable. They fall fast and hard. With mutual respect, this love can be fiery and lasting. Sex, 9.5/10. Explosive, adventurous, and deeply satisfying. They match each other's desire and intensity. If they slow down and stay present, it becomes transcendent. Marriage, July 5, 10. A wild ride with incredible highs. Challenges come from ego and control struggles. Emotional growth and teamwork are key to longevity. Friendship, 9 out of 10. Loyal allies with endless energy. They support each other's dreams and defend each other fiercely. Just keep egos in check. Business, 8 out of 10. A power duo with sky-high potential. They drive success through bold vision and action, as long as they learn to balance leadership and avoid burnout. So, can two rams rule the world together? Absolutely, as long as they understand that real power isn't in leading alone, but in rising side by side. With passion, purpose, and a little patience, they can build something that's not just hot, but unshakably strong. Twin flames? Without a doubt. Too hot to handle. Only if they forget that love, at its core, is about choosing each other, even when the fire gets wild.